Hi everyone, I'm Hextasy, and before I start doing Nuzlockes for games I haven't played in a few years, I like to go through it in a casual run to get a feel for the game again, because when I don't, I miss things and look like a massive idiot. So today, we'll be playing through Pokemon Platinum with no extra rules, but for the most part, I'll be trying to use Pokemon I don't use too often. Ironically enough, some of the most commonly used Pokemon in the Gen 4 games are the ones I never use, like Luxray, Lucario, and Staraptor, so I'll be avoiding them as well. For our starter, we'll be taking Turtwig, and they are able to beat our rival's Chimchar without too much trouble. We then head up through Sandgem Town, where we can give Turtwig the name Sir Turters. We then travel up to Jubilife City without catching any new Pokemon, which may have been a mistake because our second rival battle is here. This time, he starts with a Starly. They outspeed us to land a Growl, which lowers our attack before we can take out a third of their HP with a Tackle. They are then able to land 5 more Growls to drop our attack as low as it can go before Sir Turters can finally beat Starly. But he still needs to get through Chimchar. Chimchar hits us with a Leer to drop our defense, and our tackle does not a lot. We begin repeatedly using Withdraw to boost our defense, while Chimchar keeps using Leer to lower it back down. If I had a second Pokemon, I could just recall Sir Turters to reset their stat drops and this fight would be easy peasy. But somehow, at the end of this nearly 10-minute fight, Sir Turters manages to come out on top. So yeah, now I know we definitely need a second Pokemon for this fight. Afterwards, catching a new Pokemon is our top priority. So we head to the Orberg Gate to catch Lord Ducky the Psyduck, and just past that, at Route 207, we catch Madam Rock the Geodude and Horse Chan the Ponyta. With these new team members, we can take on the first gym leader, Rourke, the Rock-type trainer. He starts with a Geodude that gets erased from existence by Lord Ducky's water gun, and his Onix comes out next. It outspeeds Lord Ducky to land a Screech to cut their defense in half before they too are annihilated by a water gun. All that's left to deal with is Cranidos, who outspeeds Lord Ducky to take them out with a single headbutt. So we bring out Madam Rock next, and they get hit by a Leer to drop their defense before we land a Rock Smash. This move has a 50% chance to drop the foe's defense, but we don't get the stat drop. We're hit by another Leer, and another Rock Smash fails to get the defense drop. Rourke heals up on the next turn, and a third Rock Smash does not get the 50-50 chance to drop their defense. Cranidos then lands a Pursuit for big damage, if you could call 17 damage big, and we land another Rock Smash that doesn't drop defense, but does drop them to about a third of their HP. One more Pursuit takes out Madam Rock, but now we can bring in Sir Turters to finish the job with a Razor Leaf and win the first badge. With him beaten, we can use Rock Smash in the field, and we can head back to Jubilife City, where we have our first battle with Team Galactic, and once they're beaten, we head north to Floroma Town to continue the beatdown on Team Galactic. In the middle of throwing hands, we catch a Shellos named Dr. Seaslug and Queen Bee the Combi. Despite what I said at the start about trying new Pokemon, these two evolve into a couple of my favorite Gen 4 Pokemon that I tend to use any chance I get. Oh well. Oh, and we also catch Senior Squirrel, the Pachirisu. With all these new additions to the team, we can take on Team Galactic's commander, Mars. She starts with a Zubat while we bring out Senior Squirrel. Spark just misses the KO, and we're hit by a bite that doesn't do too much damage. A quick attack finishes the job, and Mars brings out her ace Purugly. Their combo of Fake Out and Scratch does a solid bit of damage, but Senior Squirrel survives and uses Charm to cut Purugly's attack in half. This lets them survive the next couple attacks and charm Purugly's attack to the minimum attack possible. We can then switch to Madam Rock, who lands a critical hit Rock Smash that actually does drop Perugly's defense, and after their Oranberry heals them up, we can use Magnitude, a move whose power is randomly selected based on the magnitude that is rolled, and we roll a Magnitude 9 to get the KO. With Team Galactic beaten in this area, we can head through the Eterna Forest, where we evolve Sir Turters into a Grottle and Queen Bee into a Vespiquen. The Eterna Forest is a great place to train the first time we go through it, because Cheryl will heal our Pokemon back up after every battle, along with doubling the rate at which we go through wild Pokemon. But once we arrive at Eterna City, we waste no time in challenging the second gym leader, Gardenia. She starts with the Turtwig, while we bring out Horse-chan. We outspeed and land a Flame Wheel that just misses the KO, and Turtwig can set up a Reflect to cut all physical damage Gardenia's team takes in half. So we switch to using Ember as Gardenia heals Turtwig, and we once again barely miss out on the KO after 2 Embers. And we get hit by a Razor Leaf before a third Ember takes them out. Cherim is in next, and our Ember takes out a little less than half her HP, but she wastes her turn using Safeguard. Reflect wears off at the end of the turn, so we can land a Flame Wheel to beat Cherim, and all that's left is her Roserade. She can't do too much against Horse-chan, and goes down to 2 Flame Wheels to win us the fight. With her beaten, we can go trash some more Team Galactic grunts before taking on another one of their commanders, Jupiter. And this fight is virtually the same as the one with Mars. She starts with a Zubat, while we bring out Senior Squirrel to beat them with a couple Sparks before Skuntank comes in. We spam Charm to minimize their attack, and then bring out Madam Rock to finish the job with a couple Magnitudes. Easy peasy. Cynthia shows up to give us an egg that we will never hatch, and we get a bike that gives us access to Mount Coronet, where we spend quite a while trying to find a Clefairy, and even evolve Madam Rock into a Graveler and further into a Golem off-screen before we realize it is the wrong time of day and we can't encounter Clefairy, so we'll have to come back later. To pass time, we'll be taking on Fantina, the third gym leader. We bring out Horse-chan to fight her Duskull, and she starts hitting us with Shadow Sneaks while we land Flame Wheels, bringing them into the red after 2 hits. So Fantina heals, and our next Flame Wheel leaves Duskull with a burn, and the extra damage is enough for a 4th Flame Wheel to score the KO. Next in is Mismagius, who lands a Confuse Ray, but Horse-chan powers through to land a Flame Wheel. She then hits us hard with a Shadow Ball before Horse-chan once again powers through Confusion to land another Flame Wheel, bringing Mismagius low enough to force Mismagius to heal with their held berry. They then take out Horse-chan with a Psybeam, and we bring Sir Turters in next. We're hit by a Confuse Ray, and Sir Turters isn't an absolute Giga Chad like Horse-chan, and hits themselves in confusion. After being hit by a Shadow Ball, Sir Turters hits Mismagius with a Bite that leaves them with seemingly 1 HP. Fantina heals, and a second Bite isn't enough to get the KO, so Sir Turters goes down to another Shadow Ball. Queen Bee comes in and is also hit by a Confuse Ray, but they power through unlike a certain turtle I know and hits a Thief for the KO. All that's left is her Haunter, and Queen Bee decides to drop the ball, hitting themselves in confusion twice, then gets put to sleep by Hypnosis. By the time they get their act together, they can only take out half of Haunter's HP with a Thief before going down. But now Madam Rock can come in and promptly earn the win with a rollout. Next up is the third rival battle, and he starts with his Staravia against Senior Squirrel, and he tries to raise his evasion with Double Team, but Senior Squirrel can take them out with Swift, a move that ignores their evasion boosts. Weasel is in next for some reason, and a couple Sparks takes them out, and Monferno is out next. We use a few charms to drop their attack while taking hits from Flame Wheel before we switch to Lord Ducky. A couple Water Pulses takes out Monferno, and his last Pokemon is Roselia. It is barely able to survive Lord Ducky's confusion thanks to the healing from Leech Seed and Mega Drain, but Horse-chan can come in to finish the job with a Flame Wheel. We then head off to Route 210, where we catch Big Boss Bug the Scyther and Chansowler the Noctowl. We also head over to the Lost Tower, where we can grab Ghostkun the Duskull. We also catch a bunch of Unknown in the Salacian Ruins while we're here, and after all of that, it is finally time for us to catch a Clefairy, who we name Captain Pix. We now need to head towards Veilstone City, and on the way there, Dr. Sea Slug evolves into a Gastrodon, the peak of Generation 4 Pokémon. Once we arrive, we immediately challenge the 4th gym leader, Maylene. She starts with her Meditite while we bring out Big Boss Bug. They hit us for solid damage with a critical hit fake out that causes a flinch, but on the following turn we can outspeed them to take them out with a single wing attack. Machoke is out next, and they survive a wing attack, and they retaliate with a Rock Tomb that leaves Big Boss Bug with just 6 HP and drops their speed. Unfortunately for Machoke, they're still outsped, and another wing attack takes them down. All that's left is her Lucario, and unlike Machoke, they aren't as slow as Molasses and takes out Big Boss Bug with a Metal Claw before they can move. Dr. Sea Slug is out next, and they get hit by a Force Palm that leaves them paralyzed, but Dr. Sea Slug powers through and lands a powerful Mud Bomb that brings Lucario well below half HP. They land a second Force Palm, and this time Dr. Sea Slug can't move. Lucario then lands a Drain Punch, which brings us down to just 8 HP and heals them up a bit, but the healing isn't enough to save them from a Mud Bomb, which takes them out to win us the fight. After the fight, we have to help Dawn take on the Bowl Cut Brigade, but they're no match for Horse Chan and Dawn's Clefairy, who didn't really do much to help. Our next stop is Pastoria City, and on the way there, we evolve Lord Ducky into a Golduck and Sir Turters into a Torterra. Before we can challenge the 5th gym leader, our rival challenges us to a battle. It's once again a battle between Staravia and Senior Squirrel, and they can only get a single quick attack off before taking massive damage from a discharge, along with getting paralyzed. So one more discharge takes them down, and he brings out Weasel next because he has a room temperature IQ. They can land an Aqua Jet, but then gets destroyed by a discharge, and Monferno is in. Senior Squirrel hits them with the Super Fang to cut their HP in half before they're hit by a Flame Wheel and leaves them with a burn. Monferno then uses Mach Punch, which leaves Senior Squirrel with just 4 HP, and they can retaliate with a discharge to leave Monferno in the red before Senior Squirrel succumbs to their burn. We send out Chansowler next, and Monferno outspeeds us to land a Flame Wheel for solid damage, and leaving Chansowler with a burn before a Confusion takes them down. All he has left is Roselia, and Chansowler outspeeds to land an Air Slash that doesn't quite KO, but also makes them flinch so Confusion can take them out to win the fight, and Chansowler just really is not rolling off the tongue well for me. Right after that, we take on the gym leader, Wake. We'll be starting with Senior Squirrel against his Gyarados. We outspeed them and land a discharge, but Gyarados survives by the skin of their teeth and hits us with a waterfall to take out half our HP. They switch to Quagsire on the next turn, who is immune to the incoming discharge. We use Super Fang to wipe out half their HP, and they land a Mud Shot that Senior Squirrel actually survives, so we can get off one more Super Fang to drop them to a quarter HP before one more Mud Shot takes out Senior Squirrel. Sir Turters comes in next, and a Mega Drain takes down Quagsire before Floatzel is sent out. They land an Ice Fang for big damage, but we survive, and a Razor Leaf takes out more than half of Floatzel's HP, but their Citrus Berry brings them back up over half, and one more Ice Fang takes out Sir Turters. So we send out Ghostkun to fight next. Floatzel uses Crunch, and I think we should survive it so we can use Will-O-Wisp, but this Crunch is a critical hit and is a one-hit KO. So Chansowler comes out and dodges the incoming Ice Fang to set up a Reflect to cut Floatzel's damage in half for the next few turns. This lets us survive the next couple Ice Fangs, and we land a few Air Slashes to bring Floatzel low even with Wake healing. We send out Lord Ducky to finish this fight. They survive Crunch, and then take out Floatzel with Confusion. Gyarados comes back in, and while it does survive a Confusion, it can't take out Lord Ducky with their Bite, so one more Confusion wins us the 5th badge. After leaving the gym, a Team Galactic member sets off a bomb in the Great Marsh, which makes me wonder why the police aren't doing a damn thing about Team Galactic. They even set off a second bomb later in the game that makes it onto the news, and seemingly no one can be bothered to try to stop them. Anyways, Cynthia shows up, lets the criminal escape, and tells us to go talk to her grandma in Celestic Town. So we head over there, meet another Team Galactic member talking about blowing stuff up, kick his teeth in, and then have our first battle with Team Galactic's boss, Cyrus. But his team is kinda garbage for this point of the game, and he goes down pretty easily. With that out of the way, we can head over to Canalave City, evolving Ghostcoon into a Dusclops on the way there, and have another fight with our rival. He starts with his Staraptor, while we bring out Ghostcoon. Staraptor uses Double Team, but still gets hit by a Will-O-Wisp, leaving them with a burn. Staraptor continues to stack Double Teams, but still gets hit by a Confuse Ray. They power through to once again use Double Team, but are then hit by a Curse, so they really don't have much more time. They snap out of confusion without ever hurting themselves, and hit Ghostcoon with an Aerial Ace, and we miss our next Confuse Ray. Ghostcoon only needs to survive one more Aerial Ace before Staraptor goes down to its accumulated damage from its Curse and Burn, and Floatzel is out next, for once not against the worst opponent. They land a Pursuit that leaves Ghostcoon with 4 HP, but Ghostcoon then misses Will-O-Wisp and is taken out by an Aqua Jet on the next turn. Sir Turtor comes in next, and Floatzel uses Swift for little damage, and our Mega Drain heals us completely. This happens again, and Floatzel is left in the red, and thinking they're going to heal, we swap to using Razor Leaf, but they hit another Swift before being shredded. Our rival's new Heracross is out next, so we switch out to Chansowler on an Aerial Ace, and after surviving a Brick Break, they land an Air Slash for the one-hit KO. Infernape is out next, and they outspeed Chansowler to take them out with a Flame Wheel. Madam Rock comes in and survives a Brick Break, then scores the one-hit KO with an Earthquake. All that's left is Roserade, and while they can take out Madam Rock with a Giga Drain, Horse-Chan can come in next, outspeed them, and beat them with a single Flame Wheel to win us the fight. Before taking on the 6th gym leader, there's a few things I want to do first. First up, we head to the Fuego Ironworks above Floraroma Town to catch a Magmar named Master Boob, because part of their design inspiration comes from a type of bird called a booby. Anyways, we evolve them off-screen into a Magmortar, since we grabbed the Magmarizer between Veilstone and Pastoria City. We can also evolve Captain Pix into a Clefable using the Moonstone from Eterna City, and we can then head through Iron Island with Riley, repeatedly KOing his Lucario because we won't stop spamming Earthquake. And we get the Iron Coat that allows us to evolve Big Boss Bug into a Scizor off-screen. But we can also evolve Horse-Chan into a Rapidash on-screen. With all of that out of the way, we can take on the 6th gym leader, Byron. His Magneton and Steelix both go down to a single Lava Plume each from Master Boob, but his Bastiodon takes much less damage and nearly takes them out with a critical hit Stone Edge that only wasn't fatal because they were burned. So we switch to Dr. Seaslug, who finishes the job with a single Surf. Easiest gym battle of my life. We then have a meeting with our rival, Dawn, and Professor Rowan, and Team Galactic sets off another bomb on the other side of the region that can still be felt here, on the other side of a mountain range. Someone tell me again why literally any form of authority isn't doing a thing about this? Anyways, we can then head to Lake Valor, where we take on the 3rd Galactic Commander, Saturn. This should be an easy fight, but we decided to get funky. They start with Golbat, and we bring out Captain Pix. They land a Supersonic, leaving us confused, Captain Pix powers through and uses Metronome, a move that becomes a random attack, and this one becomes Fake Out. Oh yeah, that's a lot of damage. Golbat hits us with an Air Cutter, and we use another Metronome, this one becoming Shadow Punch. Captain Pix, you're kinda letting me down. Golbat lands a bite that makes Captain Pix flinch, and then they land another bite that makes them flinch, and a third bite leaves Captain Pix with just 2 HP, but they power through and they can use another Metronome, this one becoming Grass Whistle, which puts Golbat to sleep. This gives us time to use another Metronome, and we get Assurance, which doesn't do much. Golbat stays asleep and we use one more Metronome, this one becoming Snore, which fails. Golbat is still asleep, and the next Metronome becomes Ice Shard. A super effective move is just what we needed, but it's a shame we pulled one of the weakest ones. Somehow Golbat is still asleep, and this time Metronome becomes Pedal Dance. Saturn gets tired of yelling at his bat to wake up and switches to Toxicroak, which doesn't take much damage from the Pedal Dance that's forced to continue, and then they take out Captain Pix with a Poison Jab. Dr. Sea-Slug comes in and is hit by a Mud Bomb, lowering our accuracy, causing our Mud Bomb to miss. They then land another Mud Bomb, we miss ours, they land another, but then we land ours for big damage. They hit us with a feint attack, but it doesn't save them from a second Mud Bomb. Golbat comes back in, wakes up, and lands an Air Cutter before our Surf misses. Another Air Cutter brings Dr. Sea-Slug to 2 HP before they land the next Surf for the KO. All that's left is Bronzor, and while it does take out Dr. Sea-Slug after taking some big damage, we can just bring out Horse-Chan to win the fight with the Flame Wheel. Captain Pix's performance was so disgraceful that they aren't just being boxed, they are being put into Box 3, home of the Pokemon I thought I might use but then decided not to. In fact, we're even changing the overlay here a bit. That current objective area, it is now the Box of Shame, reserved solely for Captain Pix. Her roommates in the box are Miss Jingle the Chingling, PhD Mothy the Burmy, Beetlebud the Heracross, and Corporal Cherry the Cherubi. Duke Foxers the Eevee, who we got from Bebe back in Heart Home City, is in here, but I have decided to unbanish them, since we'll be heading north after this next battle and we'll be able to evolve them. This fight is our rematch with Mars. She starts with the Golbat while we bring out Big Boss Bug, and we just spam Steel Wing until they die. Unfortunately, that leaves Big Boss Bug with only about a third of their HP when Bronzor comes in, and Big Boss Bug gets confused and hurts themselves before Bronzor attacks by shifting their sprite around before doing whatever that was. Big Boss Bug can only handle a couple of those before they go down to a Gyro Ball. But now we can bring out Horse-Chan, who takes them out with a Fire Blast. Purugly comes in next and lands a Fake Out before hitting us with a few slashes while we retaliate with Fire Blasts. We're gonna lose this fight, so we switch to Ghost-kun. On the one turn that Purugly uses Feint Attack instead of a normal type move that we're immune to. They then put Ghost-kun to sleep with Hypnosis, and a few Feint Attacks takes them out. I am very tempted to banish Ghost-kun to Box 3 as well, but we can then bring out Sir Turters to finish the fight with an Earthquake. We can then head up to Snowpoint City, evolving Duke Foxers into a Glaceon along the way, and then challenge the 7th gym leader, Candace. She starts with Sneasel, while we bring out Master Boob. Her Feint Attack does decent damage, but then she gets destroyed by a Flamethrower. So does her Piloswine, and her Abomasnow. But her Abomasnow sets up the hail when it comes out, and her following Frostlass has an ability that boosts their evasion in the hail. They outspeed us and use Double Team, causing our Flamethrower to miss. They then use Double Team again, and another Flamethrower misses. And she keeps spamming Double Team until she's at nearly max evasion, while we keep missing flamethrowers. Statistically speaking, we should have landed at least one flamethrower, but we get no such luck. Horse-chan is out next, and Frostlass sets up the last of her double teams while we miss Flame Wheel. Frostlass then hits us with a critical hit Shadow Ball, and we finally land a Flame Wheel, but it does less damage than I was hoping for. And it also causes Frostlass to use their Citrus Berry. Big Boss Bug is up next, but they don't land any moves, and I remember Dr. Seaslug has Rain Dance, so we can get rid of the hail and get a slightly better chance of landing an attack. So we switch to them, and then Frostlass uses Blizzard, which freezes them and stops them from making any moves. Duke Foxers manages to land one bite, but that doesn't do too much damage, and he goes down. Big Boss Bug comes back in just to get bodied, and all we have left is Madam Rock, who goes down to a Blizzard. But I cheated and used revives. Dr. Seaslug is back in and uses Rain Dance to get rid of the hail, so we can bring out Big Boss Bug to finally land a Steel Wing to score us the win. Suck Candace dick. With her beaten, we can go to Lake Acuity, where we see that our rival has somehow lost to Jupiter, and we just let the commander of a terrorist organization walk on past us. We then infiltrate the Team Galactic base, where we meet up with Looker, an international police officer who is doing diddly squat to actually help us, so we have to fight Cyrus alone. His Sneasel is up first and hits Scizor harder than I'd have expected with an Ice Punch, but then gets destroyed by an Ice Scissor. An Ice Scissor? What the heck is that? Then just gets destroyed by an X Scissor. Honchkrow is up next, and after we hit it with an X Scissor, they land a critical hit Drill Peck to take out Big Boss Bug. Duke Foxers comes in, surviving a Drill Peck before taking them out with an Ice Beam, and his final Pokemon, Crobat, is out. They get a critical hit Air Cutter to beat Duke Foxers, but we can just bring out Madam Rock to beat them with a Rollout. Cyrus then gives us a Master Ball for some reason, and we now have our rematch with Saturn, but without Captain Pix weighing us down, it goes a lot smoother. Duke Foxers takes out his Golbat, and Master Boob can beat Bronzor and Toxicroak. We next climb to the top of Mount Coronet to finish off Team Galactic, starting with a double battle against Mars and Jupiter with the help of our rival. They both start with Bronzors, while we bring out Master Boob, who immediately lands a one-hit KO Flamethrower against one Bronzor. But we killed the wrong one, because the one that's still metaphorically standing uses Light Screen, which cuts the damage from our special attacks in half. Skuntank comes in, and we just start spamming flamethrowers on it. Our rival's Munchlax dies, which is honestly great news, because now he can bring out a Pokemon that can actually help us take down Skuntank and Golbat, leaving the commanders in a 2-on-1 situation. From there, the fight is a guaranteed win, and we watch Cyrus summon the legendary Pokemon Dialga and Palkia. But Pokemon Satan shows up and straight murks Cyrus. But we ain't done with him yet. We hop into Pokemon Hell just so we can kick his ass a third time. He starts with a Houndoom while we bring out Madam Rock, who dodges a Will-O-Wisp before using Stealth Rock to automatically win us the fight. Houndoom lands a Dark Pulse for solid damage, but then gets destroyed by an Earthquake, and Gyarados comes out next. We let them take out Madam Rock the Waterfall, so we can get a free switch in to Master Boob. They land a Thunder Punch to take out Gyarados, and Honchkrow comes in next. We switch to Lord Ducky as they use Drill Peck, and then we can land a Surf for good damage before being taken down by Night Slash. Duke Foxers hops in and finishes Honchkrow with an Ice Shard, and the Crobat that follows goes down to an Ice Beam after badly poisoning Duke Foxers and landing an Air Slash. All he has left is Weavile, and we let them beat Duke Foxers, so we can bring out Master Boob, who finishes them off with a Flamethrower to win the fight. We then fight Pokemon Satan, but they're no match for Duke Foxers. With him beaten, we can go to Sunny Shore City to fight Volkner, the final gym leader. but with so many ground types on our team, this is basically a free badge. His Jolteon and Raichu are both one-hit KO'd, and his Luxray and Electivire both go down to a couple Mud Bombs from Dr. Slug to win us the fight. All that's left before the Elite Four is for us to march through Victory Road and smash our rival one more time. This time, we start with Master Boob against his Staraptor. We outspeed and land a flamethrower that takes out most of their HP, but we then get hit by a close combat for decent damage. Our ability leaves Staraptor with a burn that takes them down, and Floatzel comes in next. And for once in a rival's life, this is the correct choice. They land an Aqua Jet to take out most of our remaining HP, before we land a Thunder Punch that might have KO'd if it weren't for Staraptor's Intimidate ability. Rather than letting Master Boob go down to a second Aqua Jet, we switch to Sir Turters, who takes very little damage before Floatzel outspeeds on the next turn to land an Ice Fang to wipe out half of their HP. We can then land an Earthquake for the KO, and Heracross is in next. Their close combat brings us into the red, and the defense drop from the attack lets our Rock Slide bring them to half HP before they take us out with an Aerial Ace. Big Boss Bug comes in next, and Heracross outspeeds us to land a very weak Night Slash, and we can just take them out with a Wing Attack. Next up is Infernape, so we switch to Master Boob on a Flamethrower that leaves them with 1 HP. Not that it matters, since Infernape is faster and finishes the job with a Shadow Claw. But now we can bring out Gastrodon, who dodges a Focus Blast before landing a one-hit KO with Surf. Our rival's next Pokemon is Roserade, so we switch back to Big Boss Bug on a Giga Drain that hardly hurts. They go for a Grass Whistle to put us to sleep, but they miss, so we can land a Wing Attack to bring them down to just 1 HP, giving them another chance to land a Grass Whistle, but they once again miss, and a critical hit Wing Attack takes them down. All that's left is Snorlax, but by spamming X-Scissor, we come out on top and can finally take on the Elite Four. First up is Aaron, the Bug-type trainer. He starts with the Yanmega, while we bring out Master Boob, and I immediately realize I forgot to add the ball capsules to my final team, which was the only reason we went out of our way to catch so many unknown at the start. Anyways, his Yanmega, Vespiquen, Heracross, and Scizor all go down to a single Flamethrower, but his Drapion, the absolute unit they are, needs 2 Flamethrowers to take them out to win the fight. Good job, Master Boob. Next up is the ground trainer Bertha, starting with her Whiscash against Sir Turters, who of course takes them out with a single Wood Hammer. Gliscor is up next, and their Ice Fang does quite a bit of damage, but we can then land another Wood Hammer that leaves them with hardly any HP. Bertha heals Gliscor, allowing us to land another Wood Hammer, leaving Gliscor with seemingly 1 HP, and the recoil damage from Wood Hammer takes out Sir Turters. Duke Foxer comes out next and finishes off Gliscor with an Ice Shard, and then Golem comes in just to go down to an Ice Beam. Next out is Rhyperior, and I sneeze and accidentally use Bite, not doing a lot of damage, and we get hit below half by an Earthquake. We can then finish off Rhyperior with an Ice Beam, and her Powdon comes in next just to also get destroyed by an Ice Beam to win us the fight. The third Elite Four member is Flint, the Fire-type trainer. He starts with his Houndoom while we bring out Madam Rock. We're hit by a Dark Pulse before using Stealth Rock, which will shave a lot of HP off the rest of Flint's team. Houndoom then sets up a Sunny Day before being destroyed by Earthquake, and Infernape comes in next. We decide to sacrifice Duke Foxers instead of letting Madam Rock die. Infernape uses Earthquake, which Madam Rock honestly may have survived, as Duke Foxer does, so we can then use Ice Shard for a little bit of extra damage before Flare Blitz takes them down. Recoil brings them below half HP, and Dr. Slug comes in, tanking a Flare Blitz before finishing Infernape with a Mud Bomb. Rapidash is brought out next, so we switch to Big Boss Bug as they use Solar Beam, hardly hurting us. The sunlight fades, and we let them go down to a Flare Blitz before we bring Madam Rock back in. Rapidash can't use Solar Beam right away, so they go for a Flare Blitz that brings us below half HP before Madam Rock lands an Earthquake for the KO. Magmortar is up next, and their Flamethrower fails to KO Madam Rock, so an Earthquake takes them down, and the following Flareon misses their Overheat, which allows us to use one more Earthquake to finish them off and win us the fight. The Psychic Trainer Lucian is next, starting with Mr. Mime while we bring out Big Boss Bug. Mr. Mime sets up a light screen, which is completely useless against our physical attacking Scizor, and an X-Scissor takes them down. Alakazam comes out next, and while its Focus Blast is a powerful move, it can't beat Big Boss Bug, who lands another one-hit KO. His Espeon is out next, and they are also unable to KO Big Boss Bug and get eviscerated as a result. Lucian, out of Pokemon who are weak to our Bug-type moves, brings out a Pokemon that actually survives an X-Scissor in Bronzong, but their Earthquake can't score a KO, and a second X-Scissor takes them down, and all that's left is his Gallade. They go for a Stone Edge, but it misses, allowing us to land a Wing Attack that brings them below half HP, triggering their Citrus Berry to heal them. They go for another Stone Edge, but it misses, and we land one more Wing Attack to secure the KO and win us the fight. Finally, we need to take on Cynthia, the champion. She starts with her Spiritomb while we bring out Big Boss Bug, who outspeeds them to land an Iron Head, taking out more than half their HP and causing them to flinch, allowing us to follow up with another Iron Head for the KO. Garchomp is out next, and their Flamethrower is a one-hit KO against Big Boss Bug, but that lets us bring in Duke Foxers. They need to survive a Flamethrower, but when they do, they hit back with an Ice Beam for the one-hit KO. Lucario comes in next, so we use Ice Shard to get a little bit of damage off before they do what Gallade couldn't and land a Stone Edge to finish off one of our Pokemon. We bring in Dr. Seaslug, who needs to tank an Aura Sphere before they can land a Mud Bomb that brings Lucario well below half HP. Their second Aura Sphere leaves us in a bad spot, but our Berry heals us and a second Mud Bomb secures the KO. Roserade is up next, and their Energy Ball takes out Dr. Seaslug, but now we can bring in Master Boob, who outspeeds and lands a Flamethrower for the one-hit KO. Cynthia brings out Milotic, and expecting them to use Surf, we switch to Surturtors, but they just use Mirror Coat, which does absolutely nothing in this situation. For some reason, I was expecting our Tortoise to outspeed Pinhead Larry and land a Wood Hammer, but they move first and land a one-hit KO Ice Beam, so it's back to Master Boob, and we land a Thunder Punch to wipe out half their HP before they use Mirror Coat again, which does absolutely nothing. This gives us the chance to use a second Thunder Punch to take out Milotic. All she has left is her Togekiss, and our Thunder Punch seems to take out exactly half their HP, and they hit us with a Water Pulse that doesn't even take out half of ours. We land one more Thunder Punch, and it's enough to score the KO on Togekiss to win us the fight and beat the game. I know this was a massive misplay on Cynthia's part, but I'm going to attribute this win to Master Boob just being built different. A casual playthrough of these games helps me better understand areas that may be trouble that I'll have to pay closer attention to in Nuzlocke. In this case, it's Candace. Her Frostlass is just a menace. So join us next time when we put this knowledge to the test with the Nuzlocke, with the added rule that I will only be using Pokemon that I could personally beat in a fight. I've been Hextasy, and thanks for watching.